Aaron, I'm so glad that you're here.
Why is that?
I'm so glad that you're here.
Why is that?
Because when there's a time and a place on the internet, or there are moments in history at Rage Select when we have to review games that are like so far outside of our comfort zone. Like, we are so good at telling you whether or not shooting somebody in the face is fun or not.
Right.
Like, we're like specialized with that shit. UFC, like, I think that I've seen like 2 pay-per-view UFC matches, and I don't think Jason has ever seen any of them. On the other hand, you can actually grapple and submit people in real life.
Yeah, and I've actually seen my fair amount of UFC pay-per-views. Haven't paid for any. I've helped pay for some because it was like a big group setting. But yeah, this is my thing.
Okay,
this is my thing.
All right, so folks, welcome to Rage Select. Aaron and I are talking about what is this called? It's EA Sports UFC. Okay. At first, I thought it was just like, I kept wanting to call it, it's an EA Sports game. I was like, it's UFC 15 or something like that.
Right. Makes sense, but
so tell us a little bit. This is the first UFC game by EA?
This is the first UFC game by EA. It's not their first mixed martial arts game.
Okay.
Because they had that huge flop of EA MMA.
Okay.
Which we won't even talk about.
Okay. Better the less said.
Less said. Okay. Let's just say huge improvement.
All right.
And I say it's all because they partnered with the UFC.
The actual UFC.
The actual UFC.
Okay. So that was previously, you were telling me that previously that was THQ.
THQ.
Okay. Yeah. But THQ obviously, THQ is going to be a thing again, but whatever. Well, do you heard that there was a company that's taking the name?
Oh, really?
Yeah, there's a company, Nordic Games, that picked up some of their assets.
That's right. They picked up the
Darksiders team, I think Vigil or something. Anyway, that's way out over there.
Yeah.
So big sweaty dudes grabbing each other,
and women,
and big sweaty women.
No, they're not big sweaty women.
Small sweaty women. Small dry women grabbing each other.
No, they're still sweaty.
Small sweaty women and big sweaty men.
Yes.
Okay, so it's just Well, then let's get the easy thing out of the way up front.
All right.
How's the sweat tech?
The sweat tech is pretty damn good, actually.
Okay.
It's actually good. I don't foresee people slipping and sliding in the game, and but you can actually see your guys getting sweaty and winded, and like there's the whole stamina and endurance counterpoint to the game. But the sweat tech, I'll tell you this, EA, they make good hair. They make good grass effects. They make good water effects.
Right.
And now they're making good sweat effects. I'm not a big Madden fan, so I don't know if there's ever a time where your player takes the helmet off and you see sweat or steam.
Sure.
But in this game, you see the sweat and you see the blood. There's times like you hit a dude, it's like a little
Does it hit the camera? You're just like,
I wish, because then it'd be like, yeah.
EA Sports, it's in the sweat.
It's in the sweat.
Well, I tell you what. Okay, let's start at the place that we normally start with our reviews, which is usually story. Now, there's probably not. Is there a story?
If you play career mode.
If you play career
mode is technically the story of this whole thing.
Okay.
As a UFC fan, I will say this. From the past UFC games to this one, the career mode has improved exponentially.
Okay.
Mainly because the UFC isn't afraid of saying what I feel that is soon to be truly a reality, and that it is one of the biggest sports entertainment entities of the world.
Okay.
And the way they do that is shove their product down your mouth.
Okay.
And so
that sounds very aggressive.
Yeah, it's very aggressive, very like, whoa, hey, buy me dinner first.
Okay, so this is, you start up and you create a fighter.
You create your fighter.
We saw Player Name.
Player Name, the assassin.
That's right.
Or some of you called the fat assassin.
The fat assassin.
The fat assassin. But yeah, you start off with your character, and then you go through, you get a little pre-training type thing in there to so you can get used to the game.
Okay.
But then you go to what a lot of people should be who go with the UFC, an elimination fight to be on the Ultimate Fighter show.
Okay, which is you were telling me this is the reality TV.
It's the real world of the UFC. It's
real
UFC. Real world.
Okay. Wait, okay, let me ask you a question. You make your own fighter.
Yep.
Did you make you?
I did make me.
And how badass were you? Did you wait? This has game face in it. Did you use
I didn't do the game face yet. That's for the next time. That's the next time I go through. But I'll say this: I can't. And my girlfriend laughed at me when I said, "I go, I'm a pretty generic looking black guy."
Okay.
And so I picked the generic black guy face, and I was just like, "Let's give him the short hair. Let's give him a little 5 o'clock shadow, good muscle, athletic structure."
Right.
Boom. And she even said, "Okay, that looks like you."
Oh
and
my
then
God.
even my best friend, that looks like you. I was like, I did it.
This is the greatest character creation engine of
I
all
will
time.
say this: I started out as a Taekwondo fighter because that's where my base is in.
Okay.
But I don't know which one. There's always a better one. You just got to find out which it is.
Mm-hmm.
And so my character was very weak in areas, and so I had to focus on those areas in training, which once again is awesome.
Yeah.
But
areas such as
you get to striking training, wrestling training, heavy bag training, movement training.
Okay.
Then submission training.
Okay.
Oh, what else is there? There's pad work. It's like
but this is you've got a whole thing full of meters, right? That dictate all of these different things and how effective you are with
and
them.
And the meters are divvied up. There's the stand up.
Yeah.
Like you have 3 main things. When you see your character on the bottom left side, there's 3 main I guess subjects that you get numbered in. There's the stand up.
Okay.
There's the grappling, and then there's submission.
Standing grappling, and then submission is on the ground grappling, or
I think it's just.
Or is grappling is just grappling is grappling. Okay.
Yeah, because both deal with transitions and stuff. And then you have your overall level.
Okay.
So you have you could be like 50 in the stand up,
right?
63 in the grappling, and you could be like 80.
When do you unlock magic missile? Is that like sure you can? Is that level 20?
Well, see, you have to pay attention to this game because you unlock things and it'll tell you unlock something.
Okay.
But in other games where it's just like, oh, you just unlocked this move, so it automatically goes to some type of place in your controller,
right?
Like, oh, I just unlocked
trading mode, mini training thing.
Exactly. No, you have to go into the menus and you have to a move thing will be like, okay, press R1 and square, and it's like, oh, but it says none. Yeah, there's nothing there, and so you unlock a move and you can put that move there. And so you have to.
So it's highly customized.
Highly customized. You get to actually customize the moves you do.
Wow.
Some of them make no sense whatsoever with certain characters. Like I'm a Taekwondo fighter. I'm not going to be doing like crazy why did I say Chris? Chuck Liddell no look haymaker. It makes no sense. But at the same time, it's like I have the option to put that in there at random in between my fights. Like, if I fight one dude, beat him, the next fight, if it's like, you're facing a guy who has shitty stand-up.
Okay.
I'm going to beat him up as much as I possibly can on my feet. So why won't I have a big bomb like that in my arsenal?
Okay.
And it's the beautiful thing that you can do that. And you don't have that all available to you when you play your character. When you start off with your character is terrible.
Yeah.
Is terrible. You will be lucky to win that first fight.
You get picked on. Make jokes about your mom.
I don't know why they did this on purpose. They did it to Plier Name too.
Oh, yeah?
You had this huge dude, which was Plier Name, versus little, what was it, Juk from Thailand?
Something like that.
My character, 6'2", 185, versus this dude who was 6'5". And I'm like, he's not in my weight class. This isn't fair. And like literally, it was like I was like hitting him and it wasn't phasing him, and I was just like, okay. And then this game for me, it made me notice you have to think. You have to think. And the fact you have to be smart in the ring. What does a big fighter always rely on? Their legs. So I started kicking the crap out of his legs.
Okay.
And guess what happened? He went down.
Okay.
Because then his legs got weak, then I just popped him in the face. It's over.
Okay. Well, I tell you what. I want to go into the because this. I mean, from what I played when we played it on the dojo is a very complex fighting system. Yes. But before we go that, let's just finish out real fast in the career mode. What do you do outside? Do you do anything outside of fighting?
You do the training, and then you get the the sponsors, and the sponsors you get fans. After you start winning and everything, you start getting videos from actual like fighters, and like they have actual like fighters who like recorded horrible, horrible. Like, hey man, I saw that fight. It was awesome. Right. Keep winning. I wonder how big of the check you got to do that. And
but yeah, I mean, are you actually doing anything in this mode, or is it just meters going up and you're seeing videos and stuff like that? Like,
meters
do you actually
going
have to,
up and you're doing videos.
Okay.
There's no actual like character walking around. So
you don't have to like engage in a sponsorship or choose your next venue or anything like that. It's just okay.
Your venue is chosen for you. It's the octagon.
So it sounds like
the
main thing is just. I mean, like we were talking before jokingly, but I wasn't sure whether it was in there about like if you're on this reality TV thing, whether they try to integrate.
I wish, man.
The Sims in there a little bit.
Yeah, that would. Maybe that's UFC 16.
Right.
Who knows? They might just.
I mean, EA owns The Sims, don't they?
Yes, they do.
Why can't I have my UFC fighter doing his little Simlish and like chewing out the neighbor? Yeah, punch Gladys in the face and throw her out of the octagon.
That would be awesome.
All right, well, let's go to the actual fighting itself.
Okay.
Now, one thing, and you tell me, as I went through the tutorial for this.
Yeah.
This is a dense control system in this game. It is not. I mean, it seems like because the actual movement and placement of the characters is important. It seems like what's more important is the fact because you have all of your face buttons do a move, and then you have modifiers with the shoulder buttons for even more moves. Then you have grappling and transitions between those moves and submissions. That's its own little mini game system. Like, how long did it take for you to pick it up? Was it? I mean, because I know that when I was playing it, like. They kept layering that stuff on to the point where I was like, whoa, this is like 3 too many systems for me.
I would say for me, it didn't take that long because in the original UFC games, it was something similar.
Okay.
In which the modifiers and the submission game was similar, but they made it very smooth in this one.
Okay.
In which I actually found a trick. I'm not going to say what it is because I'm going to be fighting some of y'all who listen to this. So I'm going to leave my tricks for myself.
Well, but in the basics, this is when you have an opponent on the ground.
Yeah.
And for people who don't know, and you're trying to pin them to win the match, right? Kind of wrestling style, not a knockout or anything.
Yeah. Well, in UFC, you either if you're on the ground, you try to keep them on the ground and submit them, or keep them on the ground and TKO them or knock them out.
Okay.
So
and this is you're trying to overpower with a submission, and it brings up this thing where you're using the right stick to move in different directions.
Submissions, if I do believe correctly, it's you're holding R1,
right,
and then you kind of inverted dragon fireball motion. So
to initiate
initiate the submission, and then there's a mini game that comes up in which. If you initiate the submission, you're stopping the person from escaping the submission.
Right.
Waiting for your little left joystick emblem to appear on any 4 of the.
Yeah, it's a square where you can see they're going to start pushing in one direction, and you need to push in the same direction to stop them.
Same direction to stop them, and then if you stop them enough, you'll have a prompt to further your submission, and then if you hit the prompt in enough time in the right direction, you'll further submission, and then it all starts all over again, stopping them, prompt, further submission.
How many times do you have to do that to actually win?
I think each submission is kind of different, but from what I've come across, it's like 4 to 5 prompts.
Really?
And it gets really intense.
Because when I was playing, that seemed to be one of the major weak points of this game, and the fact that it seemed very difficult to actually win a submission battle.
Yes.
Yeah?
And if you get a submission, that's why it's like, I'd say it's like bragging rights to the fullest. Because I can't say for the person trying to stop the submission, it's easy because literally all the person has to do is press their joystick in the direction you're going, and it stops you.
Right.
And they just keep it there because I learned the hard way. If you just press that direction and you don't hold it, you stop them, but they can keep going once you stop them.
Right.
And so, but it makes the person who's getting submitted having to like, which way am I going to go?
Right.
Which way am I going to go?
Right.
But if that person is just like seriously just staring at the screen like that way, that is like it's so intricate, but also at the same time, if you get it down and you are a submission fighter in this game, it's beautiful.
Really?
It is so because and that's why I say I'm happy that EA partnered with UFC because one, the graphics are beautiful.
Yeah.
And so, you get in other games you get players that close rubbing up on each other.
Right.
Like pixels start bleeding together, and it's like one conglomeration of like
starts to the models will hit each other in a way where you're like, that's not what people look like when they touch each other.
It's like, why is his leg going through his chest? I don't understand that. It's like, that guy is going for that arm.
Yeah.
He's going to keep going for that arm. And like the camera does a little zoom in. So that this is a submission happening, and you can't like, no reason to like press the square or triangle or X or circle button because you're not going to be striking during a submission.
Right.
Because you're trying not to get something broken.
Okay.
And so, but yeah, the submission aspect of it, I'd have to say is like almost like a mini game comes up. So it's actually a completely different game within the whole context.
It actually seems to me like, at least from what I played, that kind of seemed to be the theme to me of the game, is that because when you're just upright striking, it's like that's one game. Then you have the grappling game, and that's a whole other game. And then you have the submission game, and that's yet a third game. So it's almost like you can kind of focus. Well, I guess, if you're going to be grappling, you're probably going to be working on submissions, but it's just a lot to take in as opposed to, I know that comparing this to a normal fighting game is not really the way to go, but in a fighting game, it's like you learn the fighting system and then you're done, whereas here there are multiple systems. And
the beautiful thing is, with what you just said, those three systems, the beautiful thing about the UFC is that if like you look at certain fighters are submission fighters.
Right.
Certain fighters are striking fighters, and certain fighters are wrestling fighters.
Okay.
So it's one of those things where you can make your character to what you want. If you want to just stand up and fight, you can just focus on that game. Just know you're going to come across somebody who's going
to spam grabbing you moves.
Exactly, like Jeff. and you got to be quick on that reversal, because if you don't reverse the grab, you're getting slammed on the ground, and if they're a submission fighter, they're going to go straight for that submission.
Now, what's the difference between submission and wrestling?
Submission wrestling is fighting for position to get to that submission.
Okay.
Where wrestling is just
kind of doing damage in a grapple?
Slams, different, being able to maneuver really well through the transitions. That's a whole nother ball game. Okay. And that's what the grappling is all about. Because even in the stand-up, when you grapple and you're holding the guy, you can like go from in front of the person, and if you keep going through transitions, you end up behind the person, and then you can come back all the way around.
Wow!
I messed around with the computer. I was just like, I'm gonna see what I can do, and I literally was like, I'm break dancing on this dude, man.
You're just swirling around him like a fucking tornado.
Like, he can't do anything. But the crazy thing is, within that grappling, you can strike.
Okay.
And so you can actually get a knockout within that if your character's strong enough. Then also at the same time, if you have a better wrestling base for your fighter, you can throw them. You can throw them like ragdolls, like you were doing to me. And and like there's regular throws, and then there's like you put that modifier on there, and it's like the big slams that you get.
Right.
And the big slams, I haven't experienced this yet, but I hope it's in there. One of those big slams that you can knock the person out, because it's happened before in the UFC.
Right.
And so it's one of those things that each fighting aspect of it is they're so layered that I can just stand up and strike, or I can grapple and strike, or I can throw them down on the ground, and then when I'm down on the ground, I can still strike them.
Okay.
And so then if I'm down on the ground, I can go into a submission.
Yeah.
And so, or I can throw them down on the ground, say, fuck it, stand back up, and start punching them again. And so
it sounds like, EA, for what I know, I don't know a whole shit ton about sports, but it sounds like this very much fits into EA's model of having very kind of simulation style sports games, where they're really trying to model everything that can happen in one of these fights. That if you could see it on TV, you could see it happen here, type of thing.
Yeah. I remember one of the trophies in the last couple of UFC games was knock out a person in the first round in less than however many seconds. Yeah. And they have now I think the fastest recorded fight in like real life UFC is like 7 seconds.
Okay.
And
wow.
It was like fast. It was like ding 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 out.
Right.
Okay. Sweet. Why'd I pay all that money? But then in the game, that trophy is knock the person out in the first round within the first minute.
Okay.
And so you have a minute to literally just wail on this guy as much as you possibly can.
Okay.
But it is highly simulative. Like that was one of I don't know. I can't say I like simulations, but when it comes to something that I like know a lot about,
sure,
I like it to not be arcadey, because these games aren't made to be arcadey. These games are made to be like, Madden isn't an arcade game. It's like, if you hit a guy on a good route, whatever, you spam the juke button. Oh wait, I'm going back to SNES. Sorry. But with this,
that hardcore simulation, NFL Blitz, right?
NFL Blitz, NBA Jam.
That's exactly what it's like.
That is totally reality.
I've seen sports. I saw sports ball one time.
Wait, they did have slam ball, which I wish they would have made that a video game. But anyway. But yeah, the simulation, this is, I see as the best simulation to this sport, period, because it goes from the training, and from the training it goes to the fights, and you have to be smart. You can't just come out there unless you've done the thing and took all your earned points and put them like punching power,
right?
You just want to stand there and bang with the guy, then you'll have a more likely chance to knock the person out.
But it sounds like if you do that, then all you're doing is you're opening yourself up to somebody who's smarter, who can basically just not get hit and then grab you, and now you're in a grapple game and you have no points in grapple.
Exactly.
Okay. Let's see. As far as we've already mentioned that the graphics look really good, but I just say again, I thought that we're getting really close. I mean, this is a PS4 and Xbox One exclusive title, but these graphics looked just phenomenal.
They're gorgeous.
From what I saw.
They're gorgeous.
Now, as far as the roster goes, were there any big omissions or any problems, or was this pretty much everybody that you would wanted to see in a UFC game?
What's funny, I know this game got announced before there were like big shifts in the UFC. Like, there are fighters in the game that aren't fighting in the UFC anymore.
Right.
There are fighters in certain weight levels that aren't in those like weight levels, and so it's one of those things where I was actually talking about this earlier and saying that if you considered the UFC to be a fighting game, it has the biggest roster ever, because it has, like we said earlier, women's bantamweight, and I think there's maybe 10 to 15 women in that. Then you go from the women's bantamweight to the male bantamweight, and then that's when you get into the smalls, the mediums, the large. Yeah.
Yay, we got to say medium again.
And so in each weight class, there's probably no less than 10 guys in each weight class. And if you think about, if you get 10 people in 5 different weight classes,
that's a lot of fighters.
That's 50 people.
Yeah.
And so it's one of those things where you're like, if you just play the game and not the story, there's a lot of people to choose from, and they were all good at some point in reality in their career. But then you find the guys who have that record of like, wait, that dude's 14-1. I'm gonna pick him. And so, and they got Bruce Lee, who, if you pre-ordered or you can buy the DLC, I think it's four different weight classes. Bruce Lee in 4 different weight classes. Yeah, he goes from the small to like the medium.
Yeah.
But it's Bruce Lee in 4 different weight classes with a 94 overall rating. Who are you going to pick? Who are you going to pick?
Well, but if from at least what I know, it would seem like Bruce Lee would be more of a striker than a grappler, right? So,
but grappling is in his... Yeah, that's
his repertoire.
That's a whole other
all right, yeah.
I get into.
Well, let me ask you.
He should be 99. That's all I'm saying.
For people who may be considering picking this up, who didn't pre-order it, would you suggest buying that DLC? Is it?
I would suggest beating the career mode.
Okay.
Because if you,
what's to keep you from just making Bruce Lee?
This is true. You can make Bruce Lee and make him the perfect fighter, because there actually is a mixed martial arts style you can choose, and from what I've seen, that's like the most evenly start off point,
right?
And everybody says Bruce Lee's the godfather or grandfather of mixed martial arts, whatever,
right?
So like you could make a small little Asian dude, man.
Right. Let's see. Now there's also full online mode. I don't think I've You said you didn't play that.
I haven't
much.
ventured on there yet. I know I got a lot of people waiting to like.
Well, you
go.
put the. I called
out the world. I called out the world.
You told everybody.
And I am going to cash in that check, and I will let anyone and everyone whoop my ass because I have a feeling you guys, y'all are shifty. Y'all are shifty, and you're too bloodthirsty. If you couldn't hear the sincerity in my voice when I called everybody out, it was just that I can't wait. I can't wait to play it online, and I can't wait to play it online with you crazy rage select bloodthirsty sons of bitches because I know it's going to be fun.
Yeah,
and I know there's going to be a lot of shit talking, and I apologize for anything and everything that I say because I talk a lot of shit when I get competitive.
But I haven't seen anything there. I don't think there's been any reports that I've seen that like it's broken or laggy or any problems there.
And I haven't seen anything, and I haven't found anything in just the gameplay against the computer because the computer is the biggest cheater than any realistic player.
Yeah.
Because the computer, you'll be kicking them, and then they just hit you once, and it's like, oh, he's knocked out.
Right.
It's like, that's bullshit. But I haven't heard anything or read anything about their, because in the past UFC games, you could just win by submission.
Okay.
All day. The first UFC game was all about submissions. The second UFC game was all about the elbows.
Okay.
You get in close, you hit somebody with an elbow 3 times, literally 3 times, knocked out.
Okay.
And so in this one, you hit somebody with an elbow, you're lucky that you don't get
that your own elbow.
Yeah, you don't get elbow too. Yeah. Right. And so it's one of those things that I've actually I can't say I haven't heard anything, but I can't say I have heard anything, but I can't say that I haven't heard anything also.
Okay.
So it's something that I'm actually pretty excited to experience. But the story mode, it's got me captivated right now. And so,
all right. Well, we've spent a lot of time talking about good stuff. Is there anything bad you think the people that are thinking about buying it should know?
For me,
yeah,
it's when you knock somebody down and they're stunned. And I know this is getting really nitpicky.
Yeah.
When you knock somebody down and they're stunned, my UFC fans will get this. I want to drop down a Dan Hendo bomb on Bisping's face, but it's
those
one of those.
Words I don't know.
Yeah, it's one of these things. You knock somebody down, and they're right there at your feet, and I'm like, how do I want to pummel him. I want to pummel him now, and because pummeling is what you do in the UFC, but I'll just stand there and punch wildly at no one. I'm just like, he's on the ground. I just need to hit him 2 more times and he'll be knocked out. But then like my guy will get on top of him and then I'll be like, wait, he's already recovered and I'm punching him now and he reverses me and then I got to stand back up and I got to work on him even more. And so it almost makes me not want to knock the guy down so I don't have to pursue him. It makes me and what ends up happening is I knock the guy down so many times, as soon as he gets back up, and if I keep wailing on him, he gets knocked out from standing. Right. But it's one of those things where I was just like, maybe next time they can
the transition
from standing to ground with the strikes will be a little bit smoother.
And this is different from grabbing into a ground submission.
Yeah,
this is when you hit them and then they fall down and not being able to get down to them fast enough to press the attack
to finish the fight.
Okay,
and so it's like I said, it's nitpicky, but like it's one of those things where you're like so hyped up that you're just wailing on this guy, and it's just like, oh, and you get Joe Rogan, and and he's like, oh, he's down, and you're like, get him, and you're like, why aren't you getting him? Come on, and so it's one of those things there. It's exciting, but also at the same time, it's one of those things that breaks the momentum. Okay, and like in a game like this, it's if you're smart and you're thinking and you're like picking your guy apart and then you get that opportunity, you want it to, like, in between rounds, if you end a round and you're winning, you want to continue that momentum into the next round. Sure. And so if you're beating this guy up and he gets rocked and you know he's rocked and you see his little body at the top showing, like his head's blinking red or his body's blinking red, you want to keep going after it and you can't. You're like, ugh!
And it seems just because of the control of the way the transition works.
Yeah, it's that's when you're like, okay, this isn't real. This isn't real. It's a game. I'm controlling an artificial intelligent thing.
Right.
So,
well, anything else?
I I'm really excited that, like, once again, that EA partnered with the UFC, because through this whole thing, it, as cheesy as it is with, like, you know, the actual fighters being like, hey man, that's awesome. It's awesome to show that, and you experienced this too when we were playing it on the dojo.
Mm-hmm.
It was like can't record this.
Oh,
okay,
right.
now recording is back on. Can't record. That happens a lot in career mode.
Does it?
A lot.
It seems like the sort of thing where you could just, they should give you some kind of prompt to just be like, I know. Thank you.
Right.
Quit telling me every time.
Well, yeah,
because
I get tired of that noise. The blurr,
yeah,
blurr. I get tired of that noise. But also at the same time, especially in the beginning of career mode when you're on the Ultimate Fighter and everything like that, I watch that show.
Yeah.
I like, it comes on every Wednesday. I watch that show. Seeing how those fights start with Dana White in the ring talking to the fighters, they took that and they cropped it enough to where it's like, you're not going to see your fighter because it's not a real person.
Right.
But we're going to show you that this is the real Dana White talking to you.
Okay.
And then you're going to go right back to the fight.
Okay.
And so it's one of those things where it's like, man, the UFC has a lot of money because they're putting everything in this game that's like awesome. And like before you go to like a huge fight, it gives you like this big overview. And like when you're training, it's talking about striking, and it has like specific fighters being like, oh man, I remember my first knockout. And it's like there these interviews. And so it's like if someone who wasn't familiar with the UFC, it gives them also a good jump off point.
Okay.
To be like, man, this fighter, man, this crazy Irish dude.
Yeah.
He's talking about the Ultimate Fighter. He's talking about he won the Ultimate Fighter. I want to look him up a little bit more. And so you get to, but also at the same time, you're just like in the game and you're in the world of the UFC. And so overall, it's a really good game. And like there are little technical gripes that I have, but at the same time, it's something that when you watch the UFC in real life, it's so technical that you knew that they weren't going to be able to do that in a video game, especially as you said, with as crazy as the controls are. It's like
they're pretty nuts.
Yeah, they're pretty nuts. So I was like, wait, left, right, left, wait, this is an uppercut, this is a hook.
Yeah,
forget it. Just punch them. Just throw them.
What do you give it? Out of 5?
Out of 5, I'm gonna give it 3.75.
Round it to halves. 4 or 3.5?
4.
4?
4.
4 out of 5?
I give it a 4.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent. Well, that has been UFC, and if you'll excuse me, I think that Aaron and I have some unfinished business because he won one and I won one.
It's true.
And we gotta.
It's true.